Hello, hello, and welcome. Did you know that Anthropic had a Code with Cloud developer conference in May 6 in San Francisco? If you didn't, well, today we're going to bring you all the announcements from that conference. You are listening to Agentic AI in DevOps with Andrey, Vladimir, and Fernando from Sirob Technologies, where we're building Boris, our agentic private AI DevOps teammate. That's mouthful. Yes, let's get to it.
Nice. So, well, there was a lot of new things going on in this conference, right? Like a lot of big changes, and we thought about bringing that to you because a lot of teams are using Claude Code or Claude in general, but especially Claude Code, right? You see all the hype going around. We were just discussing before the recording that Anthropic really tried to focus on the technical teams, so all these coding agents. So, yeah, we thought it would be great to go over some of the announcements and kind of bring back, contextualize a little bit how you can apply it in a DevOps context, right? In case you're not using some of those things, and share our own experience with those.
There is they will have also a European edition of that conference on May 19th in London. I believe it's May 19th, which is next week Tuesday, and later this year in Tokyo, I believe. But if you are out there, you Google, you might attend. So I think the Tokyo one is going to be in September. I don't have it on top of my mind. One thing that is kind of also related to the news you probably heard is that they announced on the conference, but you might not heard about the conference, but you did hear about that news, is that the deal that Anthropic is making with SpaceX, that SpaceX basically giving Anthropic access to one of their data centers, I believe the Colossus one, which kind of opens up a lot of compute for Anthropic. Thus, they're able to bring up the usage limit for everyone. We've been complaining that your Anthropic subscription kind of turns into pumpkin very quickly. Now it should be better, and I did notice the difference. It's actually lasting longer, so it's harder to exhaust it in this 5-hour period. So that's a good thing. But for all of you, I mean, I don't know if you follow the news or not, but think about what that means. So SpaceX data center was used by xAI to build Grok. They build a lot of capacity, but it appears that they cannot utilize it themselves because Grok isn't having as much traction and it's kind of lagging behind. I guess they're not utilizing all of that capacity for training. So the next best thing that Elon can do to make some upset is just to give all of that compute capacity to his rival. So, it's like enemy of my enemy kind of situation. But I think the only ones right now on the market who is sitting on a huge amount of build, which is underutilized. And from the business perspective, whoever cooked up that deal, I mean, that's just genius.
Yeah, because otherwise all these video cards are just wasted because they are still working. I believe they can just shut down and froze the whole thing. It's supposed to be up and running and wait for the load. So you can just plug it and put back to the boxes. It's not like that.
And another thing that you might have seen is the fact that Cursor also in talks with the SpaceX to be potentially acquired. They're getting investment from them with potential to be acquired. But part of that deal is that they're going to be using the SpaceX data center. So SpaceX becoming a neo cloud.
That's interesting, right? From the space company, now everyone is becoming a data center company now.
They basically sold XAI to SpaceX before SpaceX goes public. I think they're trying to do it next month. And they try to build a story, right? So you have like rockets, data centers in space, which is interesting if they can pull it off.
Yeah.
So,
Data in space.
so that's a hot thing nowadays.
All the race for compute.
Now you people might be thinking, what does it have to do with the DevOps? It has everything to do with the DevOps. Like imagine deploying software to data centers in space. That's some serious business.
Kind of you have to think in advance, right? Because if you ship it, you have to wait minutes, right?
There will be luck.
Yeah, when you know
if you break it, it is like very hard to get, catch the rocket to go plug the cable.
Yeah. Let me go do some maintenance.
It's a part of our DevOps job sometimes. We basically kind of ship the rocket somewhere to the cloud or whatever it is, and then hope for the best and get the telemetry back after a while. For us, kind of this luck is already exists, but not that big luck. In space, you get bigger lucks.
Yeah, so people get ready to deploying stuff.
I want to deploy stuff in space. It's interesting.
Doing infrastructure as code with your data center in space.
In space, that would be cool.
Yeah, if I live to see that would be quite cool for sure. There is like still a lot of technological challenges to make it profitable, make it economically feasible at scale. So like it's right now, it's like an ideal of where the whole thing could be going, like self-driving car. We're supposed to have had self-driving car like 15 years ago. It's kind of getting there now, but it's like just taking longer. So we'll see.
Okay, interesting. So it's potentially if the data center in space, it's gonna be some dude you're gonna fix a data center in space. Just go in a rocket, see it go on a shift, placing the servers. I hope not.
I would imagine there will be a robot sitting in a data center, so they would connect to the robot like Avatar and go plug the cable. And then there will be like a cleaning lady robot that goes and pulls random cables. That's usually what happens in the data centers.
It's right to mimic
not the hyperscale data centers, but the regular people data center.
Yeah, I guess what people build. I see. Yeah, but I hope in space they can do it completely modular. I believe a new modern data centers is it's just a Lego which is built nearly by itself, just the models, like a containers that's put in a place and that's it.
Yeah, there is all the space radiation, you need to
a lot of things I like to say. It's a flying photons or whatever in the world who can't go inside your memory and break the whole thing. It's tons of things. First you have to ship the thing there, which is heavy. So it's a lot of questions.
So you might have some authoritarian dictatorship with the powerful lasers.
And here we started with the.
Let's not go there. Okay, back to your Claude limits.
Back to 2026.
Another thing that they announced, which is related to what Vlad mentioned, I think last time. I'm not sure if it was on air, but he said that some people are waking up at 6 a.m. to run through their usage.
Exactly. Yeah, because this usage is a bit of 5 hours, but you can decide when exactly it started. When by Claude or someone not let me decide. I have a schedule. I start coding in the 9 a.m. So I want to decide. Yeah.
So now you could actually use your usage or the window of usage available to you in an easier way. So because they announced routines available in a Cloud Code, like a cron jobs that require your laptop to be up and running. So which takes a little bit of effort. Impossible, obviously, with some clicks, but your computer should be present or not sleeping for that to work. It's also possible to shift it to cloud. I mean, to the cloud, not Claude, but the cloud, like not local, run it not locally. In my experience, I already use that. It works. So if your laptop is there, so like what I'm basically doing is I have a bunch of the things that I need to do during the day. Like for instance, if you talk about Boris development, each week on Monday, I would run a special skill that will go across all the repositories, collect everything we did, like ingest it to the knowledge base, and also share it on Slack, like so everyone is aware of what is cooking and development, like for the marketing and everything. So like I needed to start Cloud Code myself manually, not forget to do that. Now I just have a routine that runs in the background, and I configure it so it would be running during my meeting time. Like I know when I have meetings, I just schedule it during my meeting times. I know my laptop will be live, and I will just get a pull request in the end with everything. So like stuff like that, yes, like works pretty well.
Yeah, I have also an example. It's good as a routines. It could be as well. I'm running something that's called a dead code checker. There's a different approach. Different languages do the same thing. There's the tools for that. But it's good if you run it daily, because all of this LLM stuff, they produce too much code. And I noticed just too many files are become just obsolete. It doesn't not require it anymore. So I formed a skill which called the tools. You can find everything online, obviously, but this is a nice routine, and it should be done. It's good on the meetings as well, the dead code checker. So
yeah, another thing that you could be doing, like for instance, with GitHub Actions, if you have many repositories, you have no idea where stuff is failing, because GitHub Actions is kind of bad when it comes to the CI visualization. Like this is like maybe the only thing that I'm missing in like with Jenkins. Like Jenkins have like a unified dashboard, like all of your jobs. You can see what's failing. You can like see the trends and everything. With GitHub Actions, pretty much everyone builds some kind of automation to do that. So like now you can basically run it automatically. Some skills that pulls all the failing stuff, like a Python script, and then the Claude or whatever. I think like other platforms gonna follow and implement that, because it's basically what you see now is Anthropic looking at OpenClaw and taking the best parts. And they looked at OpenClaw and they're like, okay, people like to have routines, like the cron jobs. Like when I tried Hermes agent, for instance. Like I haven't tried OpenClaw, but I tried Hermes. The first thing that you do with it, you start to configure the routines. Like on this day, do that. On this day, do that. Send me this and that. So they kind of just looked at it and made it less reasonable for people to roll their own and stick with their product. Understandable.
Yeah, I think this convergence you see in a lot of things, right? One thing that I saw, I don't know if they mentioned that conference, but I saw it 2 days ago, is agent view. So now in Cloud Code, you also do Cloud agents, and then it opens this idea of navigation. You can see it running, completed, waiting for input. So it's similar to what we would have in Cursor, right? Where you would have that view with all the agents. So it's what we have been saying, right? A lot of these things converging.
And those things, they kind of surfaced from what they announced. So you should understand that Cloud Code is a harness that runs locally. See our episode on harnesses. But behind it, there is Anthropic platform. And then you choose where to implement things. So you might be doing something inside the harness only, but now they do more and more features available in Anthropic platform that happens like on the mothership. So like, for instance, one thing that people were doing quite a lot is like Ralph Wiggin loop, right? So like where you just write a hook that makes LLM go until it's done. Now they have that in a platform. It's called outcome. It's called outcomes in the platform. So you can define an outcome, and then the agent will work until it's complete. the way this surface in the harness, it's called goals in Cloud Code.
Mhm.
I don't know why not to call the whole thing like the same like name, but like
Same
now in
name.
Cloud Code you have like goal and then it will do that.
Okay.
So this is how
Okay.
it's surfacing in a harness. But my guess, I haven't looked at the source code, but my guess is that basically now the harness is able to push all of this load to the platform, and it's done not locally but on the platform. Like the same is like the multi-agent orchestration that they announced, where the agent is capable to split the task and delegate it to the smaller agents. They share the context, but they share the initial artifacts, but each agent will have its own context window. So like this way, orchestrator agent like preserves its context window, and that's done there on the platform. It's like a part of the platform.
Yeah, I have used that. I think this other thing this with is the super plan, right? So if you run the plan, but you need something that's it's too big, then you can use the super plan. Is also in the platform. And with this multi-agent, I remember, well, they call it the task tool, and I remember using this, maybe like a practical use for it that might be helpful for someone. Like I needed to document multiple projects in a centralized like document. So in the session, I said, hey, launch like multiple agents, assign one project for each agent, and create the documentation in this format. And then I saw the 6 agents in parallel. So in 3 minutes, I had all the projects, and then the main agent session got all of the output and linked because the projects were correlated, right? So then with all of those individual documentations, it started updating the links, and then you had something that like now was coherent. So it can be very useful, but I had to explicitly tell Claude Code to do that. Otherwise, it would try to do it with one session. So just a hint that sometimes if you think, hey, something can be done in parallel, you can tell it, right? Like use a sub-agent or something, and then it will do it.
But another important thing here to understand that those capabilities are available not only within Cloud Code. So if you are using Anthropic SDK and you're building against Anthropic platform, those features are available in your own agents. So you can basically fall back on that. So you don't need to implement this logic in your agent. You use platform implemented logic. So that's like where the biggest benefit comes from to the builders who are actually building against the Anthropic platform, and that's could also correlate with one of the news that like now Anthropic platform is also available on AWS, which is confusing. Like you would think it's like Anthropic platform running on AWS, but it rather AWS being a proxy towards Anthropic platform, and so you can just keep using your IAM principles and AWS being and everything.
I think I a bit understand that move because in AWS they have their own, right? They own harness, they have their own harness, they have their own agent core. So you basically can choose. So if you, and you know how AWS like to do things. Sometimes they offer you something for lift and shift. What if someone thinking about this is for shift from the cloud to AWS?
I would say no, it's like not to shift from AWS. Because like you want to use Anthropic platform, all the Anthropic features, stay on AWS, you still have everything.
Yeah,
for procurement, all these things that we say, right? Billing is integrated. You can keep using your IAM, same ecosystem, no new dashboard to go to, right? So it makes sense.
Right.
Maybe it's a bit for data privacy, because if I understand correctly, the data is somewhere in the cloud, not in the AWS.
Yeah, so like when you use Anthropic models through Anthropic platform on AWS, it's basically a proxy and all the data being sent to Anthropic. When you're using Anthropic models on Bedrock, all data stays in AWS and not shared with Anthropic.
Important distinction.
Different, but like no. because like for me, like all the naming is kind of confusing. Like you would think it's just Anthropic platform hosted on AWS, but it's actually just a proxy, technically. Maybe I misunderstood something. Like that's my take. Take it with a grain of salt. If I'm wrong, I'm very open to hear from you.
Yeah, no, that was my take as well. And you mentioned the building with the Anthropic SDK, right? And it reminded me of an interest pattern that I saw before, and now they talked in the conference as well, which is this advisor pattern, right? So
Yes.
with Boris, for example, we have this multi-model approach, right? Where we use the right model for the right task. Like you're not going to throw the most expensive model at everything. So that is a cool pattern where you can put Opus as their most capable model as an advisor to Sonnet, the mid-tier model. And it's quite cool, right? So it's a nice way to...
There is something, unfortunately, I was not able to test it just yet, but I have a somewhat educated guess. So what if you look at the model IDs on AWS Bedrock, you used to have a date of the model.
The API as well.
They dropped it now. So like the Opus 4.6 is just Opus 4.6. Haiku 4.5, like Anthropic. Where is it? Where is Haiku 4.6? Kind of taking a long time. Like really, I'm really like of all your models, I don't don't care. But I do care a lot about Haiku 4.6. Where is it? We really need it. Anyhow, so if you look at the Haiku 4.5 that's available there, I think it's like from September. Which my guess is that if you want to use advisor pattern, I don't think it will be available on the Bedrock version of Haiku because it's a deployment from September where that feature was not available. Like the way you enable feature on Anthropic. That's my guess. Again, I hoped I would test it by today, but I didn't. When I test it in the next episode, like subscribe to hear it, I will update you like with the experimentation when we know for sure. But usually what the way it works is that you would pass a special header to enable a feature. Like when you do the inference request, you pass in the headers and you enable features by passing the headers. Like this is how it worked, for instance, with extended syncing for the Sonnet 4.5. It called differently. It was like called differently. Now it's like extended syncing in the 4.6, but all those features changing very quickly, actually, like from release to release. And I think that advisor might not be available on the Bedrock, but it might be available through the Anthropic platform.
Yeah,
there you will have like a latest
APIs are totally different. Like it's the Bedrock Invoke, it's one beast, and in Anthropic, I believe it's called also somehow. In OpenAI, there's two versions. You have a chat and you have competitions. So even another version exists, and everything is different. So if you are a proxy, it's a hard time. You know, there's a proxy market of AI, any kind of AI gateways market. It's kind of hard for them because yes, it's look like you're simplifying thing. One point, use any model, but you also lose all the features which Andrey mentioned. You want this. Capabilities of teacher and advisor, and it's not available through your API gateway or AI gateway, AI API, whatever.
Yeah, like depends how they treat it. If they just pass through the headers, that might be available.
No.
It's like it's like building on one cloud and going all in on that platform, or doing like multi-cloud, trying to use only basic primitives from each. So choose your poison.
Yes, it's I believe it's everyone's supposed to choose some, bet on it and see how it works. But you mentioned this advisor thing, which works very well inside Anthropic world because they have many models, and you know who don't? nearly everyone the rest. Like it's OpenAI is just a GPT and the version, There's no differentiation between
you have like a smaller version, like there is like
the mini. You have the mini, but you don't have like as a Opus high. You don't have different options and choices. So usually one for everything. And for Grok, you mentioned the Grok today from XI, the same thing. Yes, you have a normal Grok, reasoning Grok, and the mini Grok. Usually just normal and the mini one. There's no like a bigger one, like a Opus and an Anthropic, for example.
Yes.
No one else doing this.
Going back to the announcements, few things. So like we mentioned the outcomes. So that's like interesting thing that you can now send something complicated to the platform, and platform will work until it gets done or it needs input from you. And then they announced webhooks. This is something that you can use to get notified about outcomes progress. If you build if you're building automation, makes sense. So you don't need to poll it all the time about are you done? Are you done? Are you done? Not are you done? And finally, dreaming. This is where this is also now being supported on a platform, and this is similar to like I think that how people explain it, like similar to the way how humans work. That's why it's called dreaming, like where you compress your memories into something and store it in your head. So like you take all of your experiences and you compress it into something. You're dreaming the traumatic experiences, and I'm not sure if it's dreaming it's traumatic experiences, but it's basically a way of managing the memory, because you need to do a little bit of pruning for the memory to stay useful. Because if you just keep accumulating, it like always reminds me the conversation from the book between Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson, where like the Watson tells Holmes that the that the Earth is a round ball, basically, and Holmes says maybe, and like Watson like goes crazy about that. He said like, yeah, but this fact doesn't kind of help me in life, and I'm trying to stay. To be focused on what I'm placing in my brain, so it's useful. So the same here, kind of the same idea here, like that. If it's your DevOps agent, it will not store the fact that the Earth is not flat for very long, because eventually it will just fall out. And all those patterns we spoke about, they were like a best practices developed by communities. So Anthropic just basically looking at what people are doing and implementing that in the platform, so people don't need to roll their own. They're just like lowering the bar for everyone who would use the platform to build on it. I think that's kind of wraps it up. Any last words, Vladimir, Fernando?
I hope it will be not my last words, but it's good that Anthropic is progressing, like as conferences, certification, education, all the portals. It's good. It's bring the tool to the people so they can use it more wisely and know how to provide the meaningful thing out of it, not just whatever is sometime appear on X or on YouTube. Just
well, now OpenAI also have like now they announced, like I think this week they also announced that they also gonna have a developer conference.
Okay, yeah.
And also Sam Altman told like everyone, Codex is free for 2 months if you want to give it a try. Yeah. For the companies that are switching to Codex, it's gonna be free for 2 months.
So you know, it's like as a telecom providers when you give a promotion for a new customers, but all of your old get nothing. So I already have the paid Codex, and I get nothing from Sam.
I'm not sure how it works, but I think it's in reaction to the graph that was circulating this week, where Anthropic enterprise adoption is actually beating OpenAI. So they kind of crossed the line with OpenAI, and I think there's kind of a little bit of desperate attempts to change it. So it does look a little bit desperate, I would say, but it is what it is.
But anyway, it's good for the consumers. If it's a competitors on the market, it's good for end consumers, because if it's only one OpenAI on the market, it's going to be very, very bad for us because all the prices will be skyrocketing and so on. So, there's a couple of solutions on the market which is cost a lot, and you can use them really.
We let them fine, and thanks God for China publishing their models and keeping those guys in line. So competition is great. With that, let's wrap it up. Let's see what the next week will bring. I'm not sure when we're gonna record exactly because I'm going to Tallinn to the Latitude conference, so we might be live from the Latitude next week. Let's see what happens.
Live Latitude.
Yes. Meanwhile, everyone, enjoy your weekend. Have a good time, and we talk next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.